this word pathetic came into my world about almost 10 years ago. One of my fake family members pretended to die. And instead of going to the funeral, I decided to stay home because a part of me said that staying home was the smarter, less stressful, best thing for me. And, I believe that beyond doing what other people expect you to do, I think that in certain situations, especially where emotions run high, I think the best thing a person can do, like sensitive situations, is just be honest with yourself, as long as it's not causing harm to yourself or anyone else. All you can do is your best. And at that time, the best I could do was I just wanted to be alone and be by myself and separate myself from the fake family drama. And my roommate at the time, someone that I used to respect a lot, was a little younger than me. I mean, we're basically the same age. We're only 6 months apart. But I just remember he was like criticizing me for not wanting to go to my fake family's funeral. And he called me pathetic to my face. And this was, somebody that I had defended plenty of times in the past when other people who I was friends with would say bad things about him, that he was an asshole or a douchebag or immature, just kind of like a overall questionable character, and because he was somebody that I would go out with and I had a lot of rowdy fun with, I think I just kind of excused it all and kind of chalked it up to like, oh well, boys will be boys and he's just who he is, and I accepted the rougher sides of this person in exchange for the things that I valued in the friendship. But he did call me pathetic, and that really hurt me, because we had already had issues in the past, friendship wise, and it kind of just seemed like just a really low blow. There's being insensitive or not being sensitive, and then there's kind of just being cruel, and it felt maybe insensitive, but I just had already dealt with so much, I was over it. But this other concept has been floating around me for some time now. This concept of people saying that they're not good enough, which when you look at those word choices and you break it down, there's obviously the well-known phrase meaning oh, we're not up to snuff, or we don't cut the mustard, things like that, interpretation, which is my general surface level colloquial common phrase interpretation. And then there is, if you were to look at that and the word choice, like the semantics, and really examine each word specifically, like if those words were chosen not just like casually, but almost as like a code, or a more nuanced meaning behind it. Someone saying we're not good could be an admission of a person or group of people claiming or announcing that they are ungood or bad people or evil enough, meaning like, that's the end of the conversation. Kind of like when you talk over a walkie-talkie and you say over. So by that meaning, it would be like people around me saying we're not good enough, and also we are evil people, and that's all. Like, that's the end of it. End of discussion. And it's interesting for me to have these two thoughts in my brain right now about someone calling me pathetic that I used to be friends with, especially in the context of losing a fake family member, and then other people, just people that I don't even know, but who, since I am no longer associated with my ex-friend, he is now, in my mind, now belonging to the rest of the community around me. So he is now part of those people that say we are not good enough, by either meaning we are evil people, or, we're not up to par. Which, I mean, somebody who calls another person pathetic obviously has, fits into the category of not being a good enough friend, good enough of a friend, or could actually be an evil person that I wisely chose to cut out from my life. But just taking those two things in consideration, I was thinking, like, it's so funny that, like, people out there who have tried to make me feel pathetic, if words have power, and someone calling you pathetic, to some degree, you could almost look at that as like someone trying to cast a spell on you, or manipulate you, the recipient of that criticism, into actually believing you are what they are calling you, like name calling. So in this case example, I would be me being pathetic, or pitiful, and that coming from somebody who now I have associated with other people who are constantly and consistently telling me as well, we are not good enough. It's just a interesting little word association, I guess. People trying, and it's, as somebody who spent the last 10 years living in Los Angeles, which is where I am unfortunately from, being surrounded by people who are aspiring to be famous or celebrities or whatever, kind of proving the toxic nature of Hollywood that so many people have commented on already in the past about the abuse that goes on in Hollywood in general, like in every industry in general, especially where money is a factor, of trying to make someone else feel like they are less than they are, in some kind of power dynamic. And then the irony of, which isn't actually very ironic, it's actually quite quid pro quo, or apropos of appropriate, the people who are being negative and putting out that negative energy actually have nothing positive themselves to offer, or to use another phrase that's been thrown around a lot over the last couple years, bringing anything to the table. People who want a seat at the table but have nothing of value or positive worth to bring to the table that they want a seat at. And so just sitting here alone in my room, just thinking about life and listening to the world around me, at the apparent end of the world, as we're approaching World War III and then nuclear apocalypse and whatever. It's just really interesting and really unfortunate, actually, and very poignant, and kind of like reinforcing stereotypes and unfortunate truths about the human condition and culture of people in general, and the toxic side of the human experience, I guess. Just reinforcing that when people tell you negative things about a community, for example, and it's coming from multiple people from different walks of life, different ages, and whatever, at different moments in history. Like, it's a consistent thing that has been told and told and told and told and told and told and told again, like a warning. It just proves that it's true. It's based on fact. It's based on experience, and as a witness to the toxic nature of, I guess, people in general. And my ex-friend, who was, a textbook example, like so many people in Hollywood and everywhere else, who talked a big talk and claimed to be like a good person and a righteous person and a defender of goodness and equality, and he was gay as well, so he was an advocate for equality and whatever, but then had their own, like, other people, wasn't a perfect person, had their own shortcomings and flaws, and it just goes to show you that no matter how good you or somebody else thinks they are, like, nobody's perfect. But the only thing we can try to do is own up to our mistakes and not repeat them and learn from them, and to not enable bad behavior under the deception that enabling bad, harmful, traumatic, abusive behavior is helpful when it's not. Nobody needs to be abusive. What people need to do is think about why they feel the urge or the hyperbolic phrase, why they hyperbolically think they need to be abusive or toxic or harmful, or why they need to sit down and think why they are feeling hurt themselves, probably, most likely, and deal with that instead of just trying to then get rid of their own hurt by hurting somebody else, by inflicting pain on somebody else. Like another phrase, misery loving company. And, speaking of that, Jesus Christ, in a world that is dominated by corporations and companies and businesses, the phrase misery loves company, I think, goes back and forth, works both ways, like race car. Companies love misery. Corporations love misery. Businesses love misery. And saying misery loves company is like, kind of, to me, sounds like selling out for money, making a profit off of pain, making a financial business off of trauma, which, as so many minorities in the world today over the last couple of years, and even non-minorities, the average white guy at the top of the ladder, the average Caucasian-appearing person, and the black-faced Jew, both working hand in hand to perpetuate the cycles of abuse, because they have made a business out of people's trauma. Like how hospitals don't cure people, they just put a Band-Aid over things and they charge you for the Band-Aid. The Band-Aid isn't even free. And celebrities will tell you their sad sob stories in an autobiography when they need to desperately make a few more bucks so they can try and hold on to their lifestyle before eventually getting aged out of Hollywood and becoming homeless. And Hollywood, for example, just brainwashing younger generations, young kids, into thinking that their lifestyle is cool and aspirational, and role models, even if, it's stupid, like poop joke comedy, or making bullying, as so many YouTubers have tried to make bullying popular, just, to turn around and say, oh, well, I was bullied, or I was abused, or I had a bad childhood, or I come from a broken home, or I grew up poor. Just the same weaponized and intentionally manipulative victim narrative of I'm doing bad and hurting and inflicting trauma and pain on others and other people, especially those that are smaller and vulnerable and stupider than me, because, I have been hurt myself in the past. And that's not good. Hence, when people say, oh, we're not good enough. And that's just another example of this victim narrative, this deceptive wolves in sheep's clothing victim narrative. By saying we're not good enough, it makes the listener feel sympathy or compassion for, the people that have such a low self-image. But if you look at it the other way, like it's a coded, intentionally misleading phrase, that's actually them admitting that they have nefarious intentions, that they have evil intentions, malicious intentions, then it really becomes a con and a scam and a ploy. So when I hear that in my brain, I think, of course, of course you're not good enough. Because I've lived my entire life with people trying to make me feel like, first of all, that I am a bad person just for being myself despite not doing anything that actually caused harm or trauma to anybody, besides calling evil people out or exposing evil people of their evil deeds and evil intentions, which isn't traumatic. That's being a good person. That's being a hero, which so many people in Hollywood portray on screen, and then in their personal private lives are, like P. Diddy, who pretend to be role models as far back as Making the Band, with Danity Kane or Cassie, and then they end up, being drug addicts and domestic abusers like P. Diddy, and pawns for propaganda and accomplices to, I guess, sex trafficking, whatever is in his little black book, facilitating sexual violence, like at his white parties, allegedly. But, the media will prop him up and paint him to be a victim or somebody that needs forgiveness. All the while, they will turn on other people who don't want to, facilitate the narrative of evil. And that's just more examples of how people who act and do all the talking like they're so good, and their actions reflect differently. Actions speaking louder than words. There's another colloquial phrase. But yeah, these people who tell me and say in my peripheral, we're not good enough. It's like, no shit, idiot. I never thought you were. And it's because I have witnessed so much evil done at the hands of these people claiming to just, want to be having fun. And that's another thing. They say, oh, well, you're telling on us. Trying to make me sound like a tattletale. But I'm just a good person. And these people who claim that I'm being a tattletale have the police in their back pocket. They have government officials working for them and protecting them. And, you know, they tell on, they choose their fall guys and their straw men, and, you know, they tell on them, or they tell on the younger generation, or the, you know, mentally ill, who listen to, for example, their gangster rap music, thinking that, you know, it's cool to be homophobic or violent, or it's cool to beat up your girlfriend, or it's cool to commit sexual violence because that makes you, for example, a real man. And then those people who stupidly listen to the rap music, they fall for it. And then they're the ones that are funneled into the prison system and unalived in jail. So, you know, these people in the music industry and the government and everywhere else that are all working together, they're committing murder. They're systemically accomplices to murder, conspiracy to murder, just through, you know, angry, violent rap music alone. And then there are people out there who will say, well, if everything is la-di-da and hippy-dippy and goody two-shoes, then it's not fun. And those people are the people that are engineering the trauma. Those are the people that are putting their own pain, you know, that will say, oh, well, I'm not a bad person, I just was hurt as well, and weaponizing it and putting it onto other people, and watching other people fall into the trap. And that's their entertainment, and that's how they get their rocks off. That's what puts a smile on their face. A smile on their face is watching people who they feed off of, who they are financially dependent off of, celebrities, watching their own fans struggle through financial hardship or kill each other. All the while, like Beyonce charging $2,000 to go to a concert, claiming to be a Black Lives Matter figure, and benefiting from the racism that exists in our country. So there's just a whole bunch of bullshit in this country. And there's a whole bunch of double standards and a whole bunch of cowards that on TV and on YouTube and in the movies and on the radio will act like they're tough guys and act like they're role models, whether or not your role model is just some stupid person like Johnny Knoxville, or some wannabe rapper like any rapper out there today. And it's all fake. And it's all created by the Hollywood machine. And it's all created by the people out there who will say, well, we're not good enough, but then call you pathetic. When they're the ones who are actually pathetic. They're the ones who are the minority, not the people out there who may or may not have a fluid sexual orientation, or have more melanin in their skin, or be a little less financially well off than the next person, or may not be more or less able-bodied than the next person. All of those people are the majority, in addition to what Hollywood tells you is middle class, or the average white American family. Even the stupid illegal immigrants, as dumb as they are, and as useless as they are, and as selfish as they are for coming into this country, most likely as pawns for the evil people in the government and the entertainment industry and wherever else. But I mean, they're not even that many numbers. They are not that great in number as everyone else in this country who is not Taylor Swift, who is not on your TV screen, who doesn't have 1 million subscribers, or a HelloFresh sponsorship, or has their face on a Lunchable packaging, or is wearing a stupid pro athlete jersey. You know, those people, those celebrity people, they are the true minority. And they want to keep it that way. And they're the minority because they choose to perpetuate this system that makes the majority of people struggling financially, barely able to put food on their plates, barely able to keep a roof over their head. And without the majority of people, their audience, their fan base, that minority of celebrity wouldn't exist. They would have nothing. And the billionaires like Elon Musk, who need you to buy their stupid cars, and Bill Gates, who needs you to watch their TED Talks and like their videos, and subscribe to their OnlyFans. They would be nobody, just like the majority, if the majority decided to not give them their money, aka give them their power, because, you know, without the money, they have no power. So, that's just another stating the obvious episode from me, somebody who used to want to be a Hollywood actor, and was groomed to be like a Justin Bieber type, was abused by Hollywood industry professionals, and everyone else in my circle, and people around me that tell me that I'm pathetic, and then will also say that they're not good enough, because they're not good enough, and they are actually the ones who are pathetic, not me. And I've always known this, because if they were good enough, I would believe it. If they were good enough, they would be my role models. If they were good enough, I would want to still be in Hollywood. I would still want to be that asshole's friend. And I would want, you know, to perform in Madison Square Garden, or receive a Kennedy honor, or be a poet laureate, or win the Nobel Prize, or a Pulitzer, or an Oscar, or an Academy Award, or a Tony Award, or an Emmy like RuPaul's Drag Race, and be on RuPaul's Drag Race. But I don't, because I know that what they are saying is true. They are not good enough. They are not worth my time. They are not worth my money. And if everybody just woke up and felt like me and stopped giving them our money, and then decided to abolish money altogether and just be good people and not live under this idea that evil is entertainment and trauma is fun and abuse is love, and actually just worked on themselves instead of doing the stupid busy work and slave labor, this world would be a better place. You know. And then we could have things like sarcasm and dark humor and wit, and torture porn like Saw, and it would be fine, because we would have already done the work with ourselves, and we would all be living plentiful, comfortable lives, and there would be no toxic competition. But that requires people to grow the fuck up and stop accepting and stop normalizing not being good enough, and stop feeding into their jealousy of others who are gifted and who are naturally talented and who have special abilities and skills over the other person, because we're all just people. We all have the same amount of potential. You know, it just takes dedication and practice and actually like working smart and not hard, and being mature and being genuinely good people, and not just confusing and tricking and lying ourselves into thinking that a dopamine hit means you're good just because something feels good. Doesn't mean it's good for you. Just like driving drunk, you know, might feel cool, might feel badass. You might get an adrenaline rush, which feels good in the body, but guess what? That adrenaline rush is your body telling you that you're doing something dangerous. And if it's not in a controlled situation, like skydiving, you're not only putting yourself in danger, you're putting other people in danger. So there's a lot to think about from what I just said. I know it may seem like not fun, but as somebody who lives their life as a good person, somebody who has spent the last 10 years and even time before that living around all these people that everyone else allegedly wants to be when they grow up, I can tell you I'm having a great time living my boring life. And I don't want to be those people, and I don't want anyone to be me either, because I'm me. And you should want to be yourself. You should want to be the best version of yourself. So stop accepting not being good enough, and actually work on that. And I guarantee you will be less frustrated in your life. And once you do that, you won't have to go out looking for those toxic things that numb you to the pain that you feel. And you can just have fun. Life can be fun without causing harm or hurting others. So that's all.